If you watched the default episode, you know how fast the consequences pile up. Today we cover the primary way out, loan rehabilitation. 9 payments over 10 months, and a reset on your federal loan standing that can change the trajectory of your financial life.
I want to start with the most fundamental question: what does rehabilitation actually accomplish? Because people hear it and think it means something vague about fixing the loan. What exactly changes when you complete the process?
Rehabilitation does 3 concrete things. First, it removes your loan from default status. Second, it restores every repayment option you lost at default: income-driven repayment, deferment, forbearance, forgiveness program eligibility. Third, and this is the part that makes it different from consolidation, it removes the default notation from your credit report.
That last point is the one I have seen matter most over the years. Consolidation gets you out of default too, but it does not remove the default mark from your credit history. Rehabilitation is the only exit path that actually repairs the credit record, in addition to the loan status. For borrowers who need to rent housing or apply for jobs, that distinction is the difference between rehabilitation working and not working.
Lewis is making the key distinction up front, and George and Core, it is worth anchoring on. The credit report outcome is what drives the choice between rehabilitation and consolidation for most borrowers. We will cover that comparison in Scene 6. First, let us understand the mechanics of rehabilitation itself. Let me hand the mic around before we start.
George here, the old-timer perspective, edited for time.
Lewis here, perspective without lecture. That is the aim.
Core here, fast, loose, factual. My 3 favorite adjectives.
The panel is set. First move. Here we go.
Session. 9 on-time voluntary payments within 10 consecutive months. That is the core of rehabilitation. The 10-month window means you are allowed to miss exactly 1 month, not 2, not 3. If you miss 2 months, the rehabilitation agreement breaks and you have to start over.
Why 9 payments in 10 months instead of just 9 consecutive months? Is that window intentional to give some breathing room, or is there a legal reason?
The 10-month window is intentional flexibility in the regulation. Real life happens. A missed payment does not necessarily collapse the entire agreement. The 1 misallowance reflects that rehabilitation was designed to be achievable for borrowers in genuine financial difficulty, not only for those in perfectly stable situations.
The payments must be voluntary. Wage garnishment payments that are being automatically taken from your paycheck do not count toward rehabilitation. This is a critical point. If you are under active garnishment, you need to separately make voluntary rehabilitation payments. You are essentially paying both at the same time during the rehabilitation window, unless you negotiate a suspension of the garnishment.
You can request suspension of wage garnishment while you are actively making rehabilitation payments. It is not automatic. You have to ask the collection agency. But they do have the authority to suspend it once you have demonstrated good faith participation in the rehabilitation agreement. Get that suspension in writing.
How is the payment amount actually determined? Because if someone is in default, they are already in financial distress. Is there a floor that makes this accessible for people with very low income?
The formula: 15% of your discretionary income divided by 12. Discretionary income is your adjusted gross income minus 150% of the federal poverty line for your family size. For someone with no income, that number floors at $5 per month. Toots, $5 per month qualifies as a valid rehabilitation payment.
I have worked with borrowers paying $5 a month. The collection agency may push back and suggest a higher amount. That is negotiation, not law. You are entitled by regulation to the income-based calculation. If a collection agency tells you the minimum is more than what the formula produces, cite 34 CFR 682.405 and ask them to recalculate.
George's practical point here is important. The collection agency's goal is to maximize recovery. Your goal is a sustainable payment that you can make 9 times without missing. Stick with me, because Scene 4 covers what gets fully restored after rehabilitation completes, and one of those items surprises almost everyone.
As George and Erica have laid out, document the calculation. Die. Request the income-based amount in writing. Keep the documentation of your income at the time of the rehabilitation agreement. If the collection agency disputes the calculation later, you need that paper trail.
After you complete the 9 payments and the rehabilitation is processed, you get back everything you lost at default. Income-driven repayment becomes available again. You can enroll in IBR, PAYE, ICR, or the new repayment assistance plan depending on your loan type and disbursement date. The path to PSLF and IDR forgiveness reopens.
Doc, what about the forgiveness clock? Did those years in default count for anything toward IDR forgiveness or PSLF? Or does rehabilitation just zero out the progress and restart?
Default periods do not count toward IDR forgiveness or PSLF. The clock effectively stops during default. After rehabilitation, qualifying payments from the point of rehabilitation forward count. The IDR account adjustment in some cases credited pre-default periods, but the default period itself is not creditable. You are not losing ground during default. The clock just pauses.
Test. Federal aid eligibility also restores. A borrower who defaulted mid-degree can return to school and access federal loans and Pell Grants again after rehabilitation. This is not a small thing for people whose default interrupted their education. It reopens a door that was completely shut.
Once rehabilitation completes, enroll in income-driven repayment immediately. Do not let your rehabilitated loan default to the standard plan with a payment you cannot afford. The whole point of rehabilitation is to restore your access to manageable repayment. Use that access right away.
Let us be precise about what rehabilitation does and does not do to your credit report. The default notation, the mark that says your loan was in default, is removed. That is the unique benefit. For a credit report that shows a default, that specific negative item gets deleted.
But the late payment history that led to the default remains. If you missed payments for 9 months before defaulting, each of those 30, 60, and 90-day late marks stays on your report for up to 7 years from the date of each missed payment. Cheap ES. The default notation comes off. The delinquency trail behind it does not.
So realistically, what does a borrower's credit look like after rehabilitation? Better than before, but not clean?
Significantly better. Removing the default notation is a major improvement because default is one of the most damaging items a credit report can carry. The remaining late payments still hurt, but they fade over time as the account shows a positive payment pattern. By the end of the 7-year reporting window for those late payments, a rehabilitated borrower who has made consistent payments on the rehabilitated loan will typically have a substantially recovered credit profile.
There is also a practical interim benefit. Some lenders will overlook late payment history if the account is current and the default is gone. Housing is a common example. A landlord running a credit check may decline because of a default notation, but approve because the account is current with some older late marks. Rehabilitation changes how your file reads to a human reviewer, not just to an automated score.
Let me ask the question. Everyone in default is actually asking, rehabilitation or consolidation? How do I decide? How do I decide?
Here is the framework. Choose rehabilitation if credit recovery matters to you. Rehabilitation is the only path that removes the default notation. Choose consolidation if you need to exit default fast, since consolidation can be processed in 30 to 90 days, while rehabilitation takes at least 9 months. Speed versus credit outcome is the core trade-off.
There is a second dimension to consider, the OBBBA change. You can now rehabilitate twice in a lifetime, but that is still a limited resource. If you have already rehabilitated once and defaulted again, your second and final rehabilitation should be used carefully, not squandered on a situation where consolidation would serve you equally well.
The anchor takeaway: loan rehabilitation is the most comprehensive exit from default. 9 payments at an income-based amount as low as $5 per month within a 10-month window restores everything: your repayment options, your forgiveness eligibility, your federal aid access, and your credit record. The question is whether you start it today.
Drop in the comments, are you currently in default? And what has been the biggest obstacle to starting the rehabilitation process? Your experience shapes what we cover in this series and may help someone else recognize their own situation. Theory gets you hired. Experience keeps you there. Until next time.
Okay, it is quiz time. Let's find out what's stuck. Think through each question carefully before you answer.
Genuinely, if this helped, the like button is the single best way to pay it forward. Subscribe if you want more.
What are the core requirements of federal student loan rehabilitation? The correct answer is A. 9 voluntary on-time payments within 10 consecutive months. You are allowed to miss 1 month in the window, but 2 misses break the rehabilitation agreement.
How is the monthly payment amount determined for loan rehabilitation, and what is the minimum possible payment? The correct answer is C. 15% of discretionary income divided by 12, with a floor of $5 per month for borrowers with no or very low income.
What is the key credit reporting difference between loan rehabilitation and consolidation as methods to exit default? The correct answer is B. Rehabilitation removes the default notation from your credit report, while consolidation resolves the default status but does not remove the default notation from your credit history.
Here's what we covered today. Loan rehabilitation takes 9 voluntary income-based payments within 10 months to pull your loan out of default. Payments can be as low as $5 per month. Once complete, you regain IDR access, deferment, forbearance, forgiveness eligibility, and federal aid. And uniquely, the default notation comes off your credit report.
The OBBBA now allows 2 lifetime rehabilitations, but that is a limited resource, not a free pass. Use it deliberately. And, as George and I both emphasized, start the process by contacting the collection agency, not your original servicer. The fundamentals never change. 2. Everything else is just fashion. Take care.
In the next video, we cover consolidation. When it helps, when it hurts, and the critical parent PLUS deadline that closes permanently on June 30th, 2026. If you have Parent PLUS loans or want to understand consolidation as a rescue tool, that one is essential.
AAT in the company to to 2 there's easy details.
Subscribe to catch every episode in this series. If you are in default right now, the path out starts with one phone call to the collection agency holding your loans. The number is on StudentAid.gov under your loan details. Make the call today. Professor Erica, signing off.